Well, Atari is continuing their acquisition of retro IPs and brands. So what is the latest acquisition and what is included? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we have this official announcement over at Atari.com. Atari acquires Intellivision brand. Now, if you were not around in the 70s or early 80s, both of these brands were two of the biggest names in home console gaming. So for kids of the 90s, this would kind of be like Nintendo buying Sega, or maybe today, PlayStation, say, buying Xbox or Nintendo. But let's look at the details here in the press release. Purchase of Intellivision trademarks and games unites competing brands from the 70s and 80s. Atari, one of the world's most iconic consumer brands and interactive entertainment producers, announced today it has purchased the Intellivision brand and certain games from Intellivision Entertainment LLC. Intellivision Entertainment LLC will rebrand and continue its business of developing and distributing the Amico brand game console with a license from Atari to continue to distribute new versions of the Intellivision games on the Amico console. Atari will seek to expand digital and physical distribution of legacy Intellivision games, potentially create new games, and explore brand and licensing opportunities as part of a long-term plan to create value from the Intellivision properties. Now, as the press release here says, the company that was formerly known as Intellivision will rebrand and will continue to work on the Amico. Now, if you haven't been following Intellivision recently, the brand rights were purchased by Tommy Tallarico back in May of 2018, and it was announced that a new console would eventually be released, and that would be known as the Amico. Now, the Amico was described as a family-friendly console where none of the games would be rated over E10+, but it would use this touchscreen controller, or you would be able to use, say, a smartphone as the controller. Now, I like this idea of a family-centric console, something that could be like pulling out a board game and playing as a family. But I did have some questions as to why you would need this dedicated system when there are plenty of family games on current consoles. But maybe they were going for the uniqueness of the controller and maybe drawing some non-traditional players. But since then, this console has had a failure to launch. It was originally targeted for a release in 2020, but it's had multiple delays, and I believe the last I've heard of it, Tallarico stepped down as his role as CEO in 2022. And then in April of 2022, GameStop and some other retailers canceled the pre-orders. And then finally back in November of 2023, Intellivision stated that it had insufficient funds to produce the console and instead produced a mobile app called Amico Home. And this was launched on Android and later iOS, and it gave users access to select Amico games. So that's pretty much the quick rundown of Amico, but why is this important? Well, according to this statement by Atari, the Amico will still be worked on by the company previously known as Intellivision, and that company will be renamed and it will license games from Atari, who now owns those IPs. So what exactly did Atari acquire here? Well, you can see from the press release, it says the purchase includes the rights to more than 200 titles from the Intellivision portfolio and the Intellivision trademarks. Now, as of the time that I'm recording this, there hasn't been a list of what IPs Atari now owns. The press release just says that Atari bought the brand of Intellivision and certain games. But Atari didn't waste any time capitalizing on the Intellivision brand by releasing this t-shirt with the logo on it. Now, this news isn't as earth-shattering as it would have been, like, say, back in the 80s. It doesn't quite hold the shock value of the WWF at the time acquiring WCW, their chief competitor. And in reality, neither of these companies are what they were back in the 80s. They've been owned by multiple companies over the time, and I doubt anybody still works there that was there back then. But definitely an interesting acquisition for Atari, and what games would you like to see them bring back from the Intellivision lineup, assuming that it's one of the 200 that they acquired? Drop your comment below and let me know your thoughts. And if you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so. It really does help the channel out quite a bit. I want to thank you for watching and be good.